10 weird things that people ignore in the Harry Potter movies. When it comes to characters from movies that have left a good impression with people, the ones from Harry Potter definitely come to mind. The Boy Who Lived got people all over the world of varying ages excited. Every single character is special in their own way, and there are a lot of things that go on within the movies that keep you watching. However, though, did you ever notice some strange things go on within the films? Maybe you didn't, just like a lot of other people, but there were definitely a lot of weird things that happened. So, in today's video, we're going to be going over 10 weird things people ignore in the Harry Potter movies. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because if you do, you could get a shout out. But with that being said, let's get into the list.
Shut up, Harry.
Number 1. Harry was kind of a bad student if you take everything into account. Granted, he isn't the only student that doesn't like to study, because there are lots of students like this that go to Hogwarts. But for someone like Harry, it just seems weird. But for someone like Ron, on the other hand, scrimping through school with okay grades wouldn't exactly be surprising. There are many points within the series where we see Harry confronted with magical creatures and problems that he just doesn't understand. You think for somebody that's always facing deadly challenges every school year that he would take his studies a little bit more seriously so that he can actually learn something that could help him. However though, as I said, he just doesn't seem to like studying one bit. But isn't that what most children/teens are like nowadays? I mean, who can blame them really? I'm sure we can just let this one slide, although it is kind of weird.
Right, when we get back to the common room, we'll both have partners. Agreed?
Agreed.
Number 2. It's no mystery that spells within the wizarding world can be extremely dangerous, especially the ones that the caster doesn't really know anything about. And of course, it takes someone with a little common sense to understand that casting a spell you don't know anything about is very silly. However, this is exactly what Harry did to Draco in The Half-Blood Prince. We see Harry and Draco battling it out inside of the Hogwarts bathroom, and Harry shoots the Sectum Sempra curse right at Draco, without knowing what it would do to him. I guess at that moment Harry just wasn't thinking straight, but it was so selfish of him to cast a spell that he knew nothing about. Luckily, Draco did survive, but he was horribly injured. Harry could have eliminated him without even realizing what he was doing because he took the curse out of an old textbook. You would think Harry Potter, of all people, would at least do a little bit of research on a spell before casting it. But he didn't, and he's very lucky that Draco survived. Number 3. Did you ever notice that Harry didn't technically graduate from Hogwarts? In the final movie, Harry, Ron, and Hermione all skip out on their lessons so that they can save the world. But I guess it's not that much of a big deal, right? Hermione returns to finish her last year in good old Hermione fashion, but Ron and Harry don't. It just seems really strange seeing all they've gone through and all the work they've done in school, just to end up at this point. It's kind of sad that we never got to see Harry finish his last year at school, but I guess eliminating the Dark Lord was pretty important. Number 4. Don't you think it's weird that the wizards and witches never really use their broom? If you think about it, the only time we ever get to see them on their brooms is during Quidditch matches, and never really any other time. That seems a little weird considering that there was a whole class at Hogwarts to do with learning how to ride brooms correctly and safely. Just think about it. In certain combat situations, Harry could have easily gone to his broom to give him an edge in the battle. But we never see this happen. Zooming around high in the sky would have given him a massive advantage against Voldemort, just as an example, rather than facing him on foot. It doesn't make any sense why we don't see the wizards and witches using their brooms more often. Number 5. Without a doubt, one of the most important plot points is during Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. It's in this movie that we learn how Harry and Voldemort's minds are linked. Harry is warned so many times that Voldemort could use this to spy on him and manipulate him, and Dumbledore even goes as far as to schedule some regular lessons with Snape to resist these effects. But despite all of these efforts, Harry still gets manipulated by Voldemort, which leads him to the Ministry to try to save Sirius. Harry and the rest of Dumbledore's army are ambushed by Death Eaters, and ironically, Sirius, unfortunately, dies after trying to rescue Harry while Harry is trying to rescue him. All Harry had to do was listen to Snape or even Dumbledore's advice, and maybe he would have been able to prevent this manipulation and cause the death of Sirius. Number 6. During Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry goes up against something much, much scarier than the Dementors or even Lord Voldemort himself. He has to face up to Dolores Umbridge, the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Okay, maybe she isn't as bad as Lord Voldemort, but she's still pretty bad. You may have realized that the more the story goes on, the more power Umbridge slowly gains over how Hogwarts is run, which sucks because she's a horrible teacher and an overall bad person. Harry decides to try and combat against this and prepared ahead of time by following up with his own group, which of course is known as Dumbledore's Army. But despite all of Harry's efforts, because of the simple name that he gave his group, the Ministry assumes that Dumbledore was the one that instructed Harry to form the team. He could have just called it Harry's Army. Why did he have to get Dumbledore involved when he knew nothing about it? This leads to Dumbledore getting sacked, and that in turn makes Umbridge more powerful because she is now the head mistress. Seriously, Harry needs to do some thinking because there's a lot of times that he could have avoided things had he just thought a little.
Well, I can tell you this. I have no intention of going to Azkaban.
Enough of this. Take him!
Number 7. Now, don't get me wrong, it's good to lean on your friends for advice and help from time to time. But throughout the movies, Harry leans on Hermione way too much. If you really think about it, behind every mystery being solved, there's a last-minute plan that Hermione usually comes up with herself. I'm sure Harry's smart enough to come up with a plan. I mean, isn't he supposed to be the chosen one or something? Hermione makes Polyjuice Potion for Harry and Ron, and has saved them so many times. Hermione basically helped Harry figure out almost every single mystery in the series. It's safe to say that without Hermione, Harry would have been eliminated a long time ago.
Congratulations, I can't believe you solved it.
Well, we had loads of help from you. We couldn't have done it without you.
Number 8. The Deathly Hallows are some of the most powerful artifacts in the wizarding world, but of course you already knew that. The Elder Wand, Resurrection Stone, and Invisibility Cloak are 3 items that a lot of people would do almost anything to obtain. We see Harry use the cloak throughout the series, but he doesn't use the other 2 whatsoever, and instead decides to throw them away so that nobody can use them ever again. You would think that after the massive battle at Hogwarts, Harry would have used the Elder Wand to do something good, like help rebuild the school and the wizarding world perhaps, but no, he decides to snap it and throw it away. As for the Resurrection Stone, he could have used this after the battle and given many wizards a chance to say a proper goodbye to their loved ones. But he throws that away inside of the forest. Seriously, Harry? There were some great opportunities for you to do some good things.
Stay close to me.
Always.
Number 9. We've already spoken about how Harry, unfortunately, is the reason why Dumbledore got fired. But people never really pay attention to the fact that he nearly got Arthur fired as well. The Weasleys treated Harry as if he was one of their own, and because of them, he became familiar with love for the first time. That's why it's considered quite a betrayal when Harry nearly gets Mr. Weasley fired. Harry and Ron take his enchanted car and fly it on their own, which was a horrible idea because they didn't know what they were doing whatsoever. This is what happens when Hermione isn't around to help. The incident that the 2 cause gets Arthur into some trouble at work, and he nearly loses his job because of it. Harry and Ron were very aware of the risks, but they took it anyway, which makes absolutely 0 sense.
My wand! Look at my wand! Be thankful it's not your neck.
Number 10. It's quite an amazing thing to witness Harry Potter finally defeat Lord Voldemort once and for all. But something that I don't understand is why he never uses that summer he has off of school to come up with a plan for his strategy on how he's gonna defeat him. He was given almost every bit of information he could wish for, and he knows all about Tom Riddle's past and the Horcruxes, so he knows how powerful Voldemort is. Not to mention, he's encountered him many times in battle before. So why does he not sit down for a second and just make a plan about what he's going to do, instead of just winging everything and winning the battle by the skin of his teeth? Harry was seriously lucky to have actually won the battle, but at least he won. But anyways, that's all we have time for in today's video. 10 weird things people ignore in the Harry Potter movies. Please make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, and consider subscribing and turning on the notifications. But with that being said, we shall see you in the next video.